Hello and welcome to another session of Dungeons & Dragons 5e Eberron, the Glass Keys. This session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar, which is an online gaming club / community you can find out more about at gauntlet-rpg.com. We've got a lot of stuff you can find there, including our podcast network, which is a new episode of the Gauntlet podcast drop today. I know we've got Plus One Forward is dropping a new episode later this week where they're starting an AP with some commentary, which should be interesting. And we've got, I know we have another Fear of Black Dragon episode that is in the pipe right now. So maybe we'll have that up next week. There's a lot of great stuff on there. So feel free to check that out. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him. And we are taking up with our sessions. Let me tell you what we're using. Of course, if you're seeing us, if you're listening or seeing us, we're using Zoom for recording all of this. We've got two tools that we're using for play. One of those is we are using Roll20 because the character sheets and maps and everything, and the encyclopedia that's in there is really solid. It makes things easier, even if I do have to futz around with the tokens every time because I can't quite get the visibility right on them. So you may hear us referring to that as well. We are using a Google Keeper, Google spreadsheet that has our lines and veils, which are safety tools. It also has our NPCs in there with pictures and some descriptions. So just to remind you about that you should check our safety tools out in case there's anything there. We also have a romance matrix and all of those things. But our players will be leveling up their characters to level 4 today. And I'm going to go around and check in with them on that. But the basics. Last session, in order to pursue this mage hunter named Bashalak, they headed down into the cogs. Bashalak was on the trail of a group that were going down into the deeps of this place to excavate some sort of unexploded spell from the war, a bomb that had been dropped down there. The sort of twist to all of this, besides you being asked to find Bashalak, is that Bashalak clearly had a secondary purpose, and he had grabbed someone named Yabnavi to take with him. And there were indications that there was another person that Bashalak was looking for by the name of Nodiria. And the documents that you got, the indications you got, suggested that these two people separately had identical dragon marks, aberrant dragon marks, which is a big thing. But that's sort of on the table. Last time the group arrived to meet up with their contact, and when they met up with their contact, they discovered that their contact was in fact not their contact. The contact had been killed, and this was a shifter that was in place. Rather than fighting it out with that shifter and a couple of Warforged, they recruited a new guide by the name of Crux, an orc rogue who did very badly in the fight last time. And she led them down. They went through the various levels into the depths of the cog, through the different avenues and things, till they arrived into areas that had been closed off. And when they reached there, they were attacked by sort of automaton dog guardians that they fought that were pretty nasty, which given the way the dice were on top of them being nasty, is all the more reason for them to level up to level 4. They headed further on, and they arrived at what is clearly the encampment of this expedition. Looks like a place where they're set up doing their digging and excavating and heading down in. There's some tents and tools and things like that. But the scene that awaited them were a number of people standing around who had either come upon or somebody had brought in. It's unclear at this moment, but the body of the person you're looking for, Bashalak. So Bashalak is dead. This expedition is down there. There are people around, and you've arrived on the scene. So after we do leveling up, I'm going to let the players talk about what it is that they want, how they want to play this particular angle at this point. So let's start with Ratung. Ratung, anything I should know about your leveling up? Any cool stuff you can do now?
Yeah, okay. I took the feat Observant, which actually allowed me to increase my intelligence by 1. So basically I can read lips, and I have a +5 bonus to my passive perception.
Nice.
And my investigation scores.
See, that is very nice. Smartly played there, Ratung. You've grown sharper by the moment. Jim, I suspect you didn't have a chance to watch the video, but Ratung played the support back, and was both mightily effective and mightily ineffective on a turn-by-turn basis. It was great.
And I think, yeah, you'll be surprised to know, I guess I'm doubling down on the blowing people around with wind strategy, even though that worked so well last time. Because I took the 2nd level spell Gust of Wind.
Oh, nice.
Just sort of a better version of that cantrip. And then, so I ended up then switching around my cantrips a bit too.
Okay.
But yeah, those are kind of the main things. I took sleep because I thought it was still cool when Zad put that guy to sleep. I was like, okay, now that I'm leveling up, I want sleep because that was cool. Yep. So yeah, it's kind of the new things that I have here.
Awesome.
Kiri 3 Blades put that guy to sleep.
Oh, well, Kiri then. Sorry. Yeah, Kiri, credit where credit's due. It was super cool when you put that guy to sleep, and that made me want to have the sleep spell when I leveled up. So thank you.
Nice. That does bring us to Kiri. Kiri, anything we should know about the changes you've made, things you've taken, all that?
Yeah, so I took Kiri has the feat called Skill Expert, which allows her to bump 1 attribute up. So I bumped her charisma up, which allowed her to get the next level of bonus there. And then that allows you to take proficiency in 1 additional skill and take expertise in a different skill that you already have proficiency in. So I added proficiency in perception.
Nice.
And I bumped persuasion up to the expertise level. So,
and what does expertise do in this context?
It allows you to double it when you roll. You get, if you're proficient, you get your proficiency bonus, and you get it doubled if you are. So it basically turns it into a +4 instead of a +2, plus your whatever your stat is giving you. So she's becoming quite persuasive.
Oh, that is very nice. Awesome.
She got a couple new spells. I added Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which I will most definitely be using at some point. And the cantrip, she took Message, which allows her to kind of send a little message back and forth between somebody that she can see.
Absolutely. Awesome. I believe, Kiri, also you have the gem that you recovered last time. All right. That brings us to Zad.
Yes. So not only does Kiri have the gem, but Kiri critically succeeded at attuning with the gem.
Yes.
Yeah. So Zad, I took the feat Fey Touched, which I would like to narratively explain as being powers from Orion rather than an actual fairy, if that's okay.
Sure, I'm good with that. Yeah. What does that give you?
So basically, Zad had a conversation with Orion and was praying and saying that he was trapped in that dog's mouth for way too long. It gives him Misty Step, the ability to teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Are you
Makes sense.
comfortable with that?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
And then awesome. And then the cantrip Toll the Dead, which gives necrotic damage based off of a failed wisdom throw, and Dissonant Whispers, which is a first or second level spell. These are all coming from leveling up or from Fey Touch, the Dissonant Whisper spell, 3d6 psychic damage off of a failed throw. I think I done it right after we finished the game, so I can't remember. I was supposed to level up one of my stats. I think I leveled up intelligence by 1, but I'm just going to double check and make sure that that was what I did. I may have actually forgotten to level up one of the abilities, but I'm fine just leaving it at that for now.
Okay. And that will bring us to Sojara. Jim, well, I know we threw you in the deep end here, that telling you about the level up right at the start of the session. Have you thought about kind of what you might want to take?
Yeah, let me just take a quick look here. I think I know what I want. I'm just gonna take a quick look down the.
And feel free to choose on the fly, but I just thought I would check in to see if you kind of.
I'm gonna choose on the fly. I'm looking at the list and I think I know what I'm gonna take, but
Okay.
Give me a minute or two here just to make sure I go over the whole thing. Yeah.
So the group, the 4 of you, plus Crux, who is with you, have some time. Like, we're going to assume that you've seen this tableau of these people there, and given the lighting and such, they haven't seen you yet. If you progress forward much more, they're obviously going to see you. You are a fairly large group, so you draw attention that way. So I want to put it to you about the conversation between the 4 of you about how you want to approach this, what you feel is goals, things like that. Carrie, let me start with you. What are you saying to the group as you see this scene?
And we have seen that Bashrak is dead.
Yep.
Wow. Plot twist. Now what, guys?
Question for you, Lowell. How can you remind me again, how many other people are there?
There are probably, including workers, about a dozen people there.
And one of them is Yabnavi, presumably.
Presumably one of them is Yabnavi. If you look at the NPC tab from row 78, you can see on row 78 there of the NPCs, the 2 Warforged that you see standing there. And then as you kind of scroll down, you will see some of the other named NPCs who are present.
And just Yabnavi's the one that he brought with him. So this is his camp. Not yet. We don't know yet.
You don't know exactly what's going on. You do see a person, this woman who matches Yabnavi's description, who is standing there, perhaps looking a little more worried than some of the others there.
Well, I think, Carrie, we probably need to play this pretty cool, because the tensions are probably pretty high right now if they just found basically the leader of the expedition dead.
Though, this isn't Bashalak's expedition. Bashalak was following somebody else's expedition.
Oh, okay. So that's
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So that was kind of what I was trying to ask
No.
earlier.
Right.
I'm sorry, Lowell, because I feel like you said this up front, but I'm trying to remember. He was following the expedition of the radical. Was that right?
So the person who he's following down here, if you're not,
or we don't know.
It's not exactly clear, but he's following an expedition down. You know that this person, Nadiria, was amongst the expedition.
Mhm.
And you knew kind of what that expedition was about, but you're still not sure exactly why Bashalak was doing this. Like why did he follow behind this group, and why did he come down here?
And just to be clear, he's in like a sleeping bag, dead.
No, he's not in a sleeping bag. He's
Oh, okay.
definitely in his outfit, in his gear, on the ground, dead. Though exactly how dead and how that happened is unclear from this distance.
Is it possible he's alive?
You'd say the way the eyes are sunk back into the head from here, probably no.
One thing we could do is I could use like an invisibility spell either on myself or on one of you guys, and you could go and scout ahead and just see what's going on, or like listen in. Or even, if you want to try and like if Navi is looking concerned, maybe like whisper in her ear, like, hey, I'm here to help, like let's try and slip away. Like, I don't know, what something like that.
Are any of the workers who are digging goblins by any chance?
I think it's fair to say that there are probably a couple of goblin workers here. They're leaning on their shovels, very lackadaisical.
I just quietly point at one that's about the size of Kiri and just raise an eyebrow and look at her.
Yeah, so why don't I'll make a suggestion. I could use if we're within range, I could use that new little message cantrip and ask one of the goblins what potential. I could try to ask him what happened, but it might freak him out because all of a sudden somebody's just going to be talking in their head. So
these strike me as the sort that might not be able to tell the difference between their workers.
Now I see where you're going with this.
So the other folks who are on this NPC tab, we've got, is it mostly Warforged? I know I'm asking you to have repeat things.
Oh, sure.
So.
No, I'll actually, here's what I'll do is I will share screen and kind of walk through who you see and kind of what they, how their stance is at this point, I think is the best way to do this. So there's a larger Warforged, like enormously large, Rust, who has by them another Warforged that almost seems like a servant. The way the camp is arranged, the way that the people are standing, almost in a sense that this Rust person is in charge. You will see that standing by them is this woman Nodiria, who is standing very close by Rust. That is the other person that you had the name for.
And we knew one of them used to work for the Pashtan.
That's Yabnavi.
Yabnavi, okay.
Yeah. The
Nodiria
other
we heard from the bureaucrat. He gave us that name, I think. Right?
Yep.
Thank you.
There's a mage, Typhoon, standing there with this person, Sachdeva, and they're close by the workers, and they have the real feel of people who are like hired to do the labor or the kind of the servants on site kind of thing. And then there's another pair, this elf woman, Vicar Price, and then this dwarf who's standing close by her, who the dwarf has the look of the person who's handling security. Like he's all armored up. He's standing looking around with a what's all this then look on his face. And the elven woman has the look of the person who is paying the bank to fund the mission, if I may be so bold as to suggest. So I'm going to stop sharing. So what's the play? I've heard message. I've heard invisibility. I've heard sneak up and chat with the workers.
Given, so just to throw something out there, given that Zad speaks Elvish and Dwarvish and is good at finding things, or he thinks he's good at finding things, he feels tempted to talk to the bank or the elf to pitch our services, that we can help them find what they're looking for. And I'm open to any reaction to that. Since we're in the huddle, if anybody thinks one of these is better than the other.
They're not mutually exclusive. Somebody could
Yeah,
certainly
that's what I was
sneak up
gonna say,
and
we don't have
yeah.
to do. I do like the suggestion of maybe Curie kind of sauntering and / sneaking over and just kind of joining in with the workers as if, as if she's one of them, and just chatting them up about, whoa, what's up? What happened here? Sort of kind of vibe. And then I think that can be exclusive potentially of what you guys, what the rest of the group, may do as well. So
Plus, you're the one person who can message back to the others to tell them what you find out.
dun, dun, there we go.
So let's start with that. Let's start with that, and then if we need to do some other like step up information gathering, we can move to the other steps and then figure out how you actually want to approach them. So Carrie, I feel like this is a deception roll.
All right. Yeah, so let me get the setup here to roll. I think she's gonna kind of, we're kind of still on the
Oh, you're
outskirts.
still a ways away, so you can easily kind of make your way back and around. Just to remind you, if you didn't spend it last time, you have inspiration. And
Spend everything this time.
you have that plot point. I think the only person who spent their plot point so far is Zad. So the other three of you have those plot points available.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's get the roll on the table, I suppose.
Okay. So that is a 10. So I think that you will get up with the goblins with the kind of the blend in, and part of this succeeds in that the rest of the group, they're the people who are talking about this, their attention is focused on that. They don't notice an extra goblin. But I think the goblins here kind of look at you, and one who you have the sense is the foreman kind of like steps back a little further away, kind of out of earshot of the group, and is like, who the hell are you?
I'm the new guy, new digger.
I wasn't told about a new excavator being brought in here.
Well, they never, they never tell us stuff, right? Thinking they're so much better than us.
I'm going to say this, the goblin says, and I hope you won't take this the wrong way. But you're a little too pretty to be a work person. So what's the deal? Because we've had shit going on here. It doesn't surprise me that somebody else has popped up.
All right. You got me. The union sent me. They want to be sure that the all of us are being treated well by the party. There's been reports lately that goblin teams being hired and being horribly mistreated, not being paid, and I'm kind of here on the down low trying to check that out, make sure everything's on the up and up.
Uh-huh. So you're my union rep.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll tell you what, we'll go with that. I'm willing to go with that. You're not here to like shank anybody, right?
Oh, no, no one's gonna get in trouble. I'm just here to watch, just kind of take some notes, make sure everything's happening like it's supposed to, you know.
Kind of leans in. He says, provided you do well by us. And he kind of reaches out, kind of taps your coin purse. We won't say anything until you need us to.
So she'll wink and you know, nod and toss a few coins his way. But then, you know, she's but this business over here, pointing at the, you know, this is definitely something, you know, what's happening over here. I think the union to be very interested in this sort of goings on.
So you will pick up, let me give you kind of what you see happen is there's clearly some tension between the different groups there that is finally broken by the larger Warforged says, well, that's neither here nor there. There's danger all around here. Turns to the dwarf, the guards person, and say, wrap the body up, put it in one of the tents. We'll figure out what's going on later. We have work to do. And that seems to everybody there, with one exception, seems to be like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. You can see that Yabnavi is not entirely pleased by this turn of events. Finally, Rust says, and since the person who vouched for you is dead, and we don't know what your deal is, I think we're going to tie you up and have you sit watch on the body. And you can tell that's sort of what seems to be going on. The goblin is kind of filling you in, like, yeah, it looks like that's just gonna, whoever that person is going to be bad. They arrived just a couple days ago. They got nobody to support them. Does it seem like fair info?
Yeah. So Kyria is going to kind of point over like to Sojara, and she's going to try to do her little message cantrip. It's just a cantrip.
Yeah.
So she makes contact. Sojara Dabra, stop. Bashrak dead, stop. Yabnavi in trouble, stop. That's it. Because I think that's all that.
It's pretty short.
Like, and Sajar Dabra is like,
And I believe you can respond in that with that cantrip as well.
oh, can I?
Let me take a quick look at it.
Await further instructions. Wait for our sign, I say. You'll know.
Roger, stop.
So Curie's in place, kind of in amongst the goblins. Let's come back to the three of you. There was talk about invisibility. Is that still on the table for going up there and doing things, or do you want to move to approach now?
Curie has insinuated herself, and it sounds as if things have gotten complicated. As we suspected, our contact, the person that we're looking for is dead, and our other contact has been compromised, it appears.
What are the NPCs? How far are we from them? And like, what are they making of us?
They haven't seen you. You're positioned far enough away that they have not seen you. The only person they've seen is Curie, and they barely noticed an extra goblin in the mix.
I've told her to wait for our signal.
Can we discern anything from the camp what they're looking for?
Sure. Let's have you kind of move yourself a little bit further, trying to stay under cover, but maybe get a better sense of like how they're organized, what they're doing. Is that what you
Mhm.
want, Zad?
Yeah, I was, Zad's curious. Zad suspects that they are looking for one of the unexploded bombs and is like, basically, that's his suspicion, but
Sure.
he's curious what they're looking for. Yeah.
Let's have you make a perception roll
All right. So,
or investigation, whichever one is higher. I'm good with either of those.
oh yeah, no, it's interesting. I've got proficiency in investigation, and then I've got this funny thing with perception where I get to add a 1d4 to it. It's like this complicated thing as a result. So let's see, proficiency bonus is a straight 2, is that right, for investigation?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna roll perception, and I'm gonna add a 1d4 to it.
Okay.
See what we get here. Ooh, that's nice.
Oh yeah.
And then I get an additional 1. So I
Yeah.
got a 20,
Sure.
dirty 20.
So, what it looks like to you is that the kind of a shift. The dwarf has another armed worker. And they go to start like bundling up the body. It's clear that they are going to move that off to a safe place, and then probably go and grab up Yabnavi. The other people that are there, the 2 Warforged, and the couple of people that are with them, workers plus this Nadiria person, kind of move back towards where the main excavation seems to be happening. It looks to you like they've dug out some area, but also some ruins have collapsed, and they're kind of like clearing some path to go down a couple of ways into whatever ruins are there. So what this bomb is looking for is clearly underground. And judging by the way they're moving rocks and debris around, probably a little precarious or a little dangerous down there. There is a mage who's kind of keeping an eye on things, but who's clearly a work person. That's Typhoon. And the person who is sort of standing back the most and kind of overseeing, like in a sophisticated way, is this Vikra elven woman who is kind of trying to get a sense of what's going on. But for the most part, there's some standing around. There's the concealing of the body, and there's returning back to this excavation down into the depths. Does that seem like a fair answer for the 20?
Yeah, it seems really fair. I guess the only consideration is,
Sure.
Does it look like they are dangerous if we were going to try to if we were going to come in and try to make a pitch, as ridiculous as this is, to say that we wanted to stake a claim on this bomb, does it feel like they would just instantly kill us?
They are pretty well armed. They didn't like overreact when they found a body. They didn't like immediately like go into hunting or killing mode. So they're not going to jump the gun immediately, but they are clearly a dangerous group of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
So you might have some room to work with. Ratung, Sajara, let's come back to you two.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Well, I'm thinking about the fact that our brief really is to figure out what was going on with Bashalak, which I guess is pretty much done at this point. Although if we could bring his body back as evidence, that might be good.
If
And then
to complete our obligation to the widow, we need only return Bashalak's body.
right, we have a secondary maybe obligation to try to get Yabnabi out of there. Depending on how we want the let's see, what was his name? The patron to view us in the future.
We are under no obligation to perform his errands for him.
Yeah, still not a bad friend to have.
Hmm.
And frankly, it doesn't look like she is going to be any better off here with this slot than she would have been with him.
I beg to differ.
Aren't they tying her up?
Well, he would do far more than that, if my impression of him is correct.
He had good tea. Excellent host. Well, perhaps if there's no safe harbor for Yabnavi on either of those places, we should try to get her to the widow. She would know how to find a safe passage for someone like that, if anyone did.
Yes. I cannot imagine what these people would want with her unless she is serving as a guide for them as well. Perhaps if we offer to assist them in whatever it is that they're doing, they'll release them into our custody.
Yeah. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Am I right, Sujaradabra?
Perhaps.
So,
then-
And I just have like a inscrutable expression on my face.
yep.
Yeah.
So do we go offer our service?
We certainly should. We can make the attempt.
So,
Zad, how do you
That's-
feel about this?
Was that for Zad?
Yes, sorry, Zad, how do you feel
Yeah.
about this?
Sorry about that. I didn't hear you. Yeah, definitely. Zad. Zad starts, the gears start turning in his head and he just starts nodding lots. This seems really interesting.
We have an advantage in that Kiri is hidden amongst them, and should things take a turn, we will have the advantage of surprise.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I wonder if let's see, their names are Yabnavi and Nodiria. I wonder whether Nodiria knows that Yabnavi also has the aberrant dragon mark, and if that would be of interest, like if they would be feel some affinity to each other. Also, if push comes to shove, I'm not sure how powerful Yabnavi is, but we could try to free her, and potentially she could then help us if things get desperate.
I would caution you that revealing the dragon mark to them would almost certainly place her in jeopardy, if she's not already.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
So-
because they may not realize she has it.
So we might want to just offer our services to them in any way that we can in exchange for custody over Yabnavi as well as the remains of our friend Bashalak. Is that the idea?
Indeed, we should also prepare for the possibility that we may not be able, if we are required to leave quickly, to lug Bashalak's body along with us. So one of us should be tasked with making sure we get irrefutable evidence that we've seen him and he's dead, that we can return to the surface with.
Right, search his body, take something off of his body. I wonder if Vikra, we don't know her name, but I wonder if the elf, I wonder what the elf would think about the Pashtun trying to do what she's doing here, and if she would in any way protect us from any repercussions if the Pashtun, like we could come down, we could tell her that, he brought it, he sent us down here and see if we could somehow use that to our advantage. I'm sorry, you were gonna say something.
An interesting supposition, but we should proceed.
So here's the question. Let's imagine this. Like, Carrie's in place, and at some point, one or more of you are gonna have to walk forward to kind of go, hey, who of you three is the person who is stepping up with the others kind of clear it behind, who in the most, I'll be as crass as I can, who's gonna make the roll when you get up there to do the initial chat and the initial offer.
To be even more crass, since I
Yes.
can't see all the characters, who has the highest charisma?
See here.
Because Zad does not. Besides Kiri, who
In terms of persuasion, if we look at that, we have a
Zad's pretty good at persuasion. 2 proficiency.
Ratung is not the person to do that.
I am absolutely not the person to do that.
Not the person.
Yeah,
to
just
do
by your affects, Sajari Dabra.
I am disciplined and used to following orders, but I am not a conversationalist.
So I think it is then Kiri is your best, but Kiri is in a particular position. So the second best is Zad, I think.
All right. Sajari Dabra and
I'm sorry,
Go
can I
ahead.
just add one? This is something I think we all knew from before.
Yep.
I wasn't speaking up because Kiri's not there, but I do think this is
Sure.
knowledge. But our initial charter was Lord Murcross hired Bashalak to go follow this thing. So Lord Murcross is an elf who hired Bashalak
No.
to go down, right?
No. Your patron,
Right.
Duchess, or however you wish to describe her, Lord Murcross came to her
Right.
and said, hey, there's this weird thing. I need to, find this person, Lord Bashalak. The Duchess then came to you and said, hey, this is really weird. I would like you to follow up on this, figure out what's up with Bashalak, find them and figure out what's going on.
Okay. So we're right. So regardless, so Lord Murloc, elf, Murcross, Vikra Price, elf.
Mhm.
There might be, I'm just wondering if there's the Vikra Price person might not be a very nice person. If Lord Murcross, who is kind of friends with our patron, wanted to find this guy, that was just something I was putting together potentially while
That
we
is a
were
possibility.
chatting. So
totally. I mean, I think it's probably fair to say the best approach is to play dumb and say we're here, and then reveal information if it seems useful. I guess the question, and we do have to make the roll anyway. So the question is, Sajar, Dabra, and Ratung, are you going to hide in the back as secret support, or are you going to actually be visible?
I think it would be best if it is clear that they cannot take you by force and then ask questions at will.
So yeah, you guys will be behind. Okay.
So you two are kind of following, you're essentially kind of playing support, demonstrating that position. That seems good. Zad, why don't you roll persuasion for me? Does that seem fair?
Yep. I'm assuming proficiency just goes right into the roll because it's checked.
So
13.
there's a bit, as they are kind of starting to get back in order, when you three march up and like people stop and you hear some mutterings, and everyone turns their attention to where you are because you're strangers and someone has been killed. And you've kind of stepped up, and this dwarf kind of is the person who interposes themselves the most and says, "Who the F are you lot?" Looks right at you, Zad.
Yeah, Zad says in Dwarvish, oh, we're treasure seekers down here, stumbled up across you all, but we'd always love to be able to help and get a little coin if we can be of any assistance.
If you've just stumbled in, you can just stumble out. I don't think we need any help. And he looks back at the woman, the elvish woman, who definitely takes a look at the Warforged and then turns and says, "You are a very long ways down on a very complex path down to here. Who are you working for?" Come.
Well, I'd like to introduce, I say in Elvish, I'd like to introduce myself first.
Okay.
The person I'm working for asked us not to disclose their identity. So can I learn who you are?
I am Vikra Price. I'm the person who is holding the purse strings on this expedition.
Well, Bashalak was, let's just say that someone wanted to find Bashalak, this person who you found dead. We were tracking him and we didn't know he'd be dead. So we're just as surprised as you are. So things have changed, and if we're able to actually help you, I'd rather this be an amicable meeting. I've got plenty of services. It looks like you have a big task ahead of you, and you're looking for something, and I'm pretty good at finding things, as are my friends.
See, for me, this is really unusual. See, your associate Bashalak rolled up here 2 days ago.
You're mistaken. He is not an associate. We have merely been contracted to find him.
Ah, well, then your target Bashalak rolled up here 2 days ago. And I had known him previously, and he traded on that relationship to, much as you are doing, ask if he could pitch in on the endeavor. And then today, we've been counting the hours by one of our chronometers here. It would be effectively night above. Someone at the edge of the camp, one of the workers, found his body out a ways.
Do you have a doctor? I could surely take a look at him and try to understand what happened to him.
We have no doctors among the group.
Would you like me to give you my best guess as to matter of death, or would you rather not really think any more of this?
See her pause. She looks at the two of you. Who may I have your names before we go any further?
I'm Zad Whispermore. My colleagues can introduce themselves.
Red Tongue.
Tongue. And you, young lady?
I'm Sajar Dabra.
Allow me a moment to confer. If you will wait there.
As you wish.
And you will see her walk over. The dwarf kind of follows in her wake, like clearly he's kind of bodyguarding her as much as he's kind of the camp security. Walks over to where the two Warforged and Noderia are. You can see that being left out of the conversation is annoying that mage, Typhoon, who's kind of at the edge, and she doesn't even get, like, nobody gestures for them to come over or anything. She looks really irritated by that. They look very irritated by that. And there's clearly some back and forth conversation. Ratug, I think you will see Vikra goes, I don't know what's going on. This you can read with your lip reading. I don't know why Bashalak turned up dead. Not that I'm crying, because he was getting underfoot. Perhaps they will take care of Bashalak and we can have them take the corpse, move along. As long as they don't get underfoot, I'm fine with them doing that. Plus, it's extra hands. I know, Rust, that you are in a hurry to get to those chambers. Perhaps they can help. And of course, the Warforged don't have lips per se. So there's a kind of a rumbling response back, and Vikra nods. Okay, all right. And she'll come back and she says, all right, why don't you and your companions set your tent over there? And once you get settled in, I will introduce you to the persons here, and then I will allow you to examine Bashalak's corpse. Does that seem reasonable to you, Zad?
Thank you very much. Yes.
One more small matter, milady.
Yes, Rat Tongue, was it?
Yes. Yeah. Excellent. Always good when people remember my name. There, I believe that Bashalak, we deduced in our investigations of his whereabouts, that he had a companion with him, a young woman. I believe her right over there.
Yeah, the one you see them like somebody's already like got her hands tied or sort of dragging her towards the tent. Yes, what of it?
I would ask that as the companion of our quarry, that she be placed under our supervision.
You think she has information on what you're looking for?
Perhaps. She might be able to help us understand what Bashalak's aims were, and our employer would certainly perhaps be interested in that information. I mean, she means nothing to you. Why not allow us to take care of her? I don't think you guys want people underfoot, as I understand.
Will you stand bond for her behavior?
Absolutely.
All right. And she'll gesture. The dwarf doesn't seem happy about like just kind of handing this person over, but one of those sort of armed workers will push her over toward where you are, and Yabnavi is eventually kind of over where you're at, and she's looking at you deeply suspicious. But Vikra says, it's morning by our work schedule here, so we'll be preparing food and starting work on the day. Why don't you get your living quarters set up, as you will?
May I make an insight check on that wizard?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm really curious, like, is it just that she's hired so they don't tell her anything? Is it that, like, I'm trying to kind of figure out what the valence of them keeping her in the dark is, if I can get
Sure.
a sense of that. Because like I'm not particularly interested in them talking to each other. They'll work that out.
Right.
But like as soon as I realize there's some dissension there,
Yeah.
I'm kind of just eagle eye on her and kind of watching her reaction, and like, you know, how they're like, whether they're completely ignoring her or like glancing over their shoulder at her or what, to see if I can figure out what's going on with that. So
Sure.
let me give that a shot. That is a 17 on that insight check.
So you'll see that Vikra just kind of ignores Typhoon. like that's just another laborer. And
Okay.
that clearly rubs Typhoon the wrong way. But then you'll hear Rust go, Typhoon, now, back to it. And like Typhoon's clearly scared of Rust. And like hops to and gathers their stuff together and heads towards that little excavation hole with some of the workers. And your sense is that Typhoon's scared of Rust, and angry that Fikra isn't acknowledging their role or importance to this. They're clearly like key to doing whatever it is they're doing. Does that sound like a fair answer?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's exactly the information I was hoping for.
Let me put a pin in this now. Let's take our first break. And when we come back, I want to start with Kiri, in case they want to talk with the goblins or get any more, and then bring the group back together. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, and I can tell you what feat I took for my level up.
Ooh. So let's take 10 and then we will come back. So Jim, you said that you had chosen your feat for Sajara.
I have chosen my feat for Sajara. So Sajara goes from being a 3rd level monk to being a 4th level monk. And so let me just take a quick look, make sure I know what I'm doing here. That means actually I do pick up a couple of monk class features as well.
Mhm.
One of them is quickened healing. So I can dump a couple of key points. And if I do, I can roll my martial arts die to get some hit points back. So I can do just like kind of instant self-heal kind of thing, in the middle of a combat or whatever. I also get like one of my favorite monk things, which is slow fall. So basically anytime I take damage from a fall, I can soak 20 points of it, and that goes up by I think 4 per level. I think it's 4, or no, it's 5 per level. It's 5 times my monk level. I'm level 4, so I can soak 20 points of damage from a fall. So I may just be pushing like going over cliffs with people.
That's
Stuff
good.
like this or something. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But anyways, don't feel bad if you throw me down a pit or something like that is what I'm saying. And for my feet, I'm doing what you should never do. I'm going full Hearts of Wulin, and I'm taking Weapon Master. So what that means is I can bump my dexterity or strength by 1. In this case, I'm going to choose dexterity because I'm a monk, and it gives me 4 weapon proficiencies, which can be martial or simple weapons. I'm already proficient with all simple weapons, so I can pick 4 martial weapons, which I can be proficient with.
Nice.
But that is synergy with one of my existing monk abilities, which is called Dedicated Weapon, which means that whenever I finish a short or long rest, I touch one weapon, focus my key on it, and then I can count it as a monk weapon, which means I can use dex for my, strength and damage, and I can do my martial arts. I can like do my like flurry of blows and stuff like that. So I can and it, as long as it is, it must lack the heavy and special properties. It must be simple or martial, and I must be proficient with it. But this means I can do like hand axes, long swords, stuff like that. And with your permission, I will not name those just yet. But
oh no, absolutely, you should do those. Those 100% on the fly.
Yeah.
That seems great. That seems perfect. I do want to mention I do have a thunderstorm that is overhead right now. So there is about a 1 in 100 chance that my power will go out, just because. But I just thought I would mention that. So if I do go dark, that is why. So let's start with Kiri. The group are handed off Yabnavi, and they kind of take a step back so that they can kind of chat at the edge of the camp. Crux is still with them, who kind of kept quiet and is clearly observing the situation, kind of watching how Zad took charge, and is kind of keeping an eye generally on things. She has completed her task, of guiding you down here, but she doesn't seem like she's in any hurry to move on. Especially because she doesn't particularly want to wander back by herself up through there. So what are you doing, Kiri? The goblins kind of, as this kind of breaks up, they move in the group off to the side. What do you want to do?
Well, first, she did take her, she's a bit of a method actor, so she was
Right.
taking the role very seriously. So she's been going around cataloging any grievances and whatnot that anybody was having. But she has also been keeping an eye on, her team, and what's been happening, and kind of looking for an opportunity to hook back up with them. So if there is a point where, so did you say Yavnari is with,
Yeah.
or is she still over with the body?
No, they will hand off Navi to Ratug and such.
Okay.
So do you want to try and get more into these goblins, or do you want to head over back to the group first? What do you think?
I think the first thing, while she's been going around, cataloging grievances, checking permits and whatnot, she's been kind of asking, if they know, like, that's a pretty big hole over there. What are we digging? What are you guys digging up over there? And trying to see if they know anything about, what the purpose of the expedition is. Because even though they're just the hired help, they often know the real deal, what's going on underneath the covers.
So clearly, there've been some people added onto the expedition, so the goblins aren't particularly tight-lipped about things. They'll say, well, we came down here, they're following some kind of magical trail or something, some kind of spell device or spell thing that fell down here. When we got down here, we followed the trail, and it clearly came through and hit this site, but they say it didn't go off or didn't trigger or whatever it was, but it sure knocked the F out of the ruins here. And so we've had to move rock and dig down, like wherever it hit down in here, it knocked the substructure bad. So we've got the upper gallery open. There's the secondary chambers we've been working on, and there's a set of servants' passages, and then there's this long hall that they're focused on that we're not, like, we got it cleared to go into it, but they're not letting us start down there. They've got the mage on that one. It's kind of a mess.
Do you guys does this crew get down in there, or are you mostly working?
No, we go in and clear spaces. Right now we're pretty much on that upper gallery, because it looks like it has the best pass through if they need to get in a different way. So we're kind of clearing what we can of the doors and reinforcing stuff where we can. And then that frickin' dwarf comes through and tells us why we're doing it wrong. Look, pick your lane, dwarf. Be a fighter or be an engineer. Like you hired us to do this. Stay in your lane.
Okay, so I think she's going to message Sojara Dabra. Sojara Dabra, stop. More info, stop. This crew is working in the upper gallery. Stop. Should I stay and go with them or rejoin? Stop.
So sorry. So just to step out for a moment as a player, when I respond, it's in my head, right? I don't have to speak out loud or anything like that.
I assume so. That would be, otherwise message would be kind of a little weak.
Yeah. I think maybe it's a whisper is all that is the most that it would have to be, if I remember reading it right.
Stall, I say.
Roger, stop. P.S. Tell Crux she looks sexy. Stop.
I like I like look at Crux and I think I blush a little bit because I'm like not sure what to do there. I'm flustered by that.
So you're going to continue on with the goblins for the moment then, Kiri?
Yeah, I think for now, I
Okay.
mean, unless we decide otherwise, she will join whatever crew heads that way,
Okay.
unless something else comes up, kind of reconnoiter, in with that crew.
Sorry. So sorry. As a let me just step out for a second. Just sorry.
Sure.
I was saying stall them.
Okay.
I mean, unless you're just like not going to bother with that. But sorry, if I wasn't clear as a player in
No, I think
communicating,
that's a good clarification.
that's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay.
All right. Well, so what I'm going to do is let me do it once around with the others, see what they're doing, and I'll come back to you and see how you're going to kind of conduct a work slowdown effectively. So Ratung, how tall are you?
That is a good question. I think I'm a little bit tall and gangly, maybe about
Okay.
6 feet.
So
Very
you're kind of surprised, like when Navi kind of comes over and now you see her kind of stand up. She's a human, but she's about 6 feet. She is kind of pushed over to where you're at. They will cut the ropes they have tied on her. She kind of massages her wrists and kind of walks with the group of you. And she says, "And who are you?" Like, I don't know who you are. I met you. Like this has been the worst like couple weeks of my life. And I don't understand. Like we I don't understand what's going on.
I don't either. But I'm somebody who can help.
How
Listen,
are we going to leave? Because that would help. That would help me. We could just like pack up our bags, rifle his body, steal his shit, and get out of here.
by his, you mean Bashalak?
Yeah.
And what does he have that you think we'd want to steal?
See her stop. She goes, well, he's got some gear.
Mhm.
I know that. I know he's got a brace of healing potions on him.
Oh, that's good.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
We should definitely go through that together and find what might be useful to us.
And he's been poking around the last couple of days. Like he's like, as soon as we got here, he started like itching around, and I think he found some stuff. And he didn't tell me what was going on, but I think he found some stuff and buried it around here somewhere.
We should find those things.
Yeah, I'm with you. Then we could split it, like just counts to twice, 6 ways, and like get out of here.
Yeah, I think the sooner that we can accomplish those things, the sooner we can leave. I also will talk to you about what you might consider doing after leaving, because I do know some things about you. And as much as you
Like her face goes as blank as Sajara's there. And what would that be?
well, I know who you worked for up above. I know that they're looking for you. And I have some idea of why you might be of particular value to that person. I also have strong reason to suspect that you do not want to go back, unless you do, in which case, of course, you are free to do so.
I do not wish to go back into the service of that hobgoblin.
Understood. Then I want you to understand that the benefactor of me and my companions and I, could be somebody that could provide some safe haven for you. Person well connected and well resourced within the city.
Ratung, she's a little on edge. So I would like you to roll to convince her that you're on the up and up, that you mean well. That feels like persuasion to me. Does that seem right?
Yeah, that seems okay.
Yeah.
I will yeah, I'll go for that. Okay, that is a 13.
She's like, okay, we can talk about that when the time comes.
And what I want you to know is that even though the Passion served me very delicious tea, I do not want to do anything that would hurt you.
I will keep that strongly in mind.
I also have very good tea. You should try it. It's like this kind of spicy chai. We get out of here together.
I don't know you well enough
mix it for you.
to drink anything that you offer me as a beverage.
Got it. Well, hopefully by the time we get out of here, you will.
Okay. So Jara, you move back to a little ways away. You've sent that message to Kiri. Ratug seems to be kind of chatting and getting Yapnavi like calmed down, and like, so she's clearly not going to take off or anything. She recognized some shared interest. What are you doing?
I think I want to go talk to that wizard.
Okay. So yeah, you can kind of cross through the camp as things are going in place, and you will see that the wizard's has like one of those big portable like backpack boxes with the drawers and things like that, and they are clearly gathering their components and getting stuff together, and there are a couple of workers waiting on them, like they're getting ready to go, down into the tunnels, and they'll kind of look up when they see you, and they say, greetings.
Greetings. I cannot help but notice that they treated you with a distinct lack of respect.
You're very perceptive.
What is it that you gain by traveling with them?
This is a business venture, my friend. This is not like we're not. She kind of makes a face. We're not adventurers. I was hired to perform tasks here, but even then, like you hired me for expertise and for skill. Why treat me like the expert that I am? That's all I'm asking, is a little deference. Or deference, however you say it.
My apologies. I would not know. It is not a word I'm familiar with. What is the meaning of it?
Respect, acknowledgement, to acknowledge that a person is skilled at what they do.
Indeed. They have paid you, however.
They are paying me, and to be fair, I am being paid quite well, but still, there's money, and then there's the intangibles.
So as a player, let me ask, what's the deal with the guy we're looking for? What's his name?
Bashalak.
Like, did they just leave his body? Have they,
they wrapped his body up and they moved it into what clearly that whatever tent Bashalak was staying in, they've moved that over there for the time being, and they might have done something else with it, but Zad has clearly indicated that he is going to take a look at it.
All right. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to ask her. I'm just going to say point blank, were you responsible for the death of Bashalak?
Let's have you make an insight roll here.
Yeah, I'll just ask her very directly. I feel like that's the kind of thing that it's what my character would do. So, but yeah, let's see what we got here.
She says no, and you believe her, but there's a but that's hanging out there, like there's some unstated, and I think you can tell that she goes, no, I didn't kill him, but you can tell from the way she says it, the phrasing, that she did not like Bashalak, and maybe even knew Bashalak from before this.
Sure. So I just nod. Very well. If it were I who were employed by these people, I would be concerned that their associates are turning up mysteriously dead. And with that, I will just turn on my heel and walk away
Nice.
from her. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's come to you, Zad. What are you going to do?
Yeah, Zad is going to try to determine the cause of death and how long they've been dead for, all of that coroner type stuff that you might do.
Absolutely. Let's take a look here. So why don't you, I think, let's have you make first a medicine roll to do the general, like cause of death and some other things, and then maybe an investigation roll to kind of check the body and stuff. Does that seem fair?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Medicine. Oh, wow. 7. Amazing.
There are no obvious wounds on the body, like no knife wounds, bludgeoning, blunt trauma. You don't find, like, you find where the blood is pooled for where the body lay, that kind of thing. But you don't find any physical wounds on them besides the usual kind of scratches and things like that, which tells you that something magical or poison or something of that sort. Does that seem like a fair answer for a 7?
Oh yeah, I think Zad maybe even tripped over the body or rolled off the table as he was.
You're doing that, they have somebody helping you, and you just kind of drop it off the body, and the goblin looks at you, then kind of just puts the body back up on the table and stands back, doesn't say a word, just like it never happened.
Zad's gonna make a note to himself. Okay, hold bodies with your legs next time. Okay.
Let's have you make an investigation roll here.
16. That's a little bit better.
Yeah, you can see as you kind of check around him, like he's well armed. He's got his short blades, and then he's got some concealed blades. You can see the bandolier healing potions, which was spoken of before, which is there, and of course, no one else is going to use them. He has some coins in his pocket. It does look, judging by his gloves and such, that he has been doing some digging. Like you can see that he's done that in the last couple of days or two. He has clearly been doing some manual labor, and with the way that they're marked, again, has used his hands and probably used a tool to do some digging. The other thing you will find is concealed very well, hidden on a kind of a scarred skin flap he has. You'll find he has a tiny golden key that he has tucked away in there. Like as soon as you touch it, you can tell it's enchanted. Essentially, it's a key to a mage lock. But you don't see any kind of lock for it anywhere else on his person.
From what I know, if I touch this thing, am I going to get zapped?
No, essentially, you can easily take that. It's the kind of thing that if you can find the lock that this goes to, it'll allow you to open it without the lock activating whatever defenses it has.
Got it. Yeah, so I'm going to take everything that I can from there. And also, does he have any distinctive anything? Hair? I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean he's got some jewelry, some very basic jewelry, some sigils and things like that. Clearly some component stuff that he has handmade, that kind of thing. You
so
can
that
yeah.
might be proof of us having found his body.
What do you think is like the most distinct thing that you can find there that you can take?
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering if he had like a strange hair color or something, though that wouldn't
Oh, yeah.
necessarily. Yeah. So I'd at least like to clip off some of his hair.
Okay.
Don't really feel like going after any fingers or anything like that. Nothing in his mouth, right? Yeah.
And
So I'd say of those things that you described, the mage lock key is pretty specific. I just don't know that anybody else would know about it. And then some of the sigils are pretty specific as well.
yeah, let's say there's a necklace like with a kind of a wrought iron sigil on it that like maybe like it is in the like a particular sign that he uses to mark his business and stuff. Like maybe even he presses it into to fires and then uses it to kind of burns the seal. You can take that, and it's not something that he would ever give up voluntarily.
Got it. Thank you. Yes. Perfect.
Okay. Let's swing back to Kiri. You've been told to stall, to create a work slowdown here amongst the goblins. Do you want to do that?
Yeah. So Curie is going to work her way somewhere where she has a little bit of privacy, and what she's going to do is she's going to use her prestidigitation cantrip to create a foul smell that would be like some kind of gas that might, and I'm not very familiar with mining or under, but I'm assuming there's some sort of gas that a smell that would be very recognizable as, oh, we've hit a pocket of something or we've whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so the duration, that has a pretty long duration. So she's going to put that, so she's going to kind of cast this spell, and then she's going to work her way back and just start hey, do you guys smell that? Hey, do you guys smell that? The foreman, hey, what's that smell? Is it supposed to smell like this?
You will roll performance.
All right.
I was acting.
I was killing it last week on these rolls.
Oh, what did you get? It didn't pop up for me yet.
It's 10.
10. So I think that you will do that. You'll draw the attention of the goblins. They will start talking about that, and I think you'll see that that huge Warforged Rust come stomping over, and looks down, and the guy was like, I think we hit pocket of something, and Rust goes, that's nothing, it'll dissipate soon, give yourself an extra hour break, but then get back to work. It's not particularly strong. And then she will stomp back away, and it's going to slow it down for a little bit. Like you get an extra hour break, you get a little bit of time here, but clearly they're gonna move back into place. Does that seem like a fair count for that?
Especially for a 10.
Yeah. Should I bring the group back together to have a chat, or do we want to still do another once around? What do you think? Thoughts, Ratung?
Yeah, whatever. I think we can come back
Then
together. Yeah.
let's cut a little bit, and Kiri will say that you can kind of slip up to there. So if you want to not be seen by anybody, you can do that. And we'll have the four of you together, having a chance to chat. Let me ask you this: while the four of you talk, do you want Yabnavi present? Do you want Crux present? Anyone feel? I want to assume they are, unless somebody feels strongly that you do not want them present while this conversation is going on. Hearing no objections.
I think Yabnavi might be able to fill in some of the things we don't know.
Okay.
Personally.
So the four of you are able to privately have a chat out of eyesight of the rest of the camp. After a little bit, after you've gathered some information, you share what you've discovered, pass that around. What are you asking? What are you saying, Ratung?
Yeah, I think my main priority is I really want to follow up with the things that Navi said that Bashalak hid around the area, but also like I'd really like to just have the chance for her to tell us how she came to be traveling here with Bashalak to begin with, considering she didn't seem to have any warm feeling toward him.
She says, so Bashalak has some pull with my, let us say that I'm an indentured servant, money owed to the Pasha. And I've been in his service for a while. I had run into Bashalak a couple of times. And he, I don't know how, convinced Padashan to lend me out to go with him. And Bashalak just said for me to come with him. He outfitted me, gave me some gear and stuff, but he would not tell me why we were coming down here. And we followed on the trail of these guys. And when we got here, he like knew that elf woman and like had a talk with her, and I think maybe had some leverage there to get her to let us like join in. He also knew the mage, but I don't know how. And it was weird. I like when he came down here, I thought like he was looking for somebody. That was the impression I had. But like once he was down here, he like changed tactic. He started to look around and started to get in the way of other people doing things. He really got underfoot with those Warforged, that duo. And then I know he's been taking stuff to keep himself up 24/7 and has been going out like when the camp's quiet to go and poke around. I saw him with like a box, and then he headed out, and when he came back, he didn't have the box. So I think he found some shit. But I've just been like he hasn't had me doing anything. He hasn't had me like talk. I've just been sitting here twiddling my thumbs, and like they already had one attacked by ghouls, like yesterday morning. So they're like they're that. I mean that it's not like that place is unoccupied. The dungeon that they're digging into. That's what I know.
Whom do you suspect of Bashalak's death? Would any of them had a reason to kill him?
Vikra, he clearly has some pull over her. She might do it. The dwarf clearly is in her pocket, so if she wanted to kill somebody, she probably sends that Eben after them. I don't trust that Sechdeva, the work boss leader. He's always skulking around. Like you'll be standing there and suddenly he's like just there out of nowhere. And I mean, certainly he got in the way of those of Rust and her second in command. I mean, if I think maybe if she found out he was like stealing stuff, she might be irritated about that. I don't know if it's irritated enough to kill. The goblins seem like good folk. I don't think any of them have done anything. And that I don't know what's up with that girl, that Rust, that Nodiria, that Rust keeps close by. Like she never lets her out of her sight. Like I'm no detective.
The dragon mark of yours, what does it do?
I don't want to talk about that.
Well, we are here to assist you, and I have no desire to see you fall into the clutches of that monster. I say, clearly indicating the hobgoblin. If you assist us and are honest with us, I give you my word that I will return to him whatever evidence we agree is sufficient to make him believe that you perished here.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do what I can. Absolutely.
What does that dragon mark do?
I can play with words and thoughts. I can pass words and thoughts on at a distance. It's not great. It's kind of hard to do, but I can do that sort of. And I can make it so that, and she points like at you and Ratong, I can make it so that two of you can talk at a distance.
Do any of them know of this as far as you are aware?
I haven't done any of it. He never asked me to use that. I thought he was here to ask me to do what the other thing I can do, which is I can make it so you can't understand something. Like words. I can make it so you can't read them.
Why did you think that he had you here for that?
Because it's a kind of a shitty thing and it's really nasty. And I figured he was, I mean, if he figured he wanted me to do something, I mean, he's a mage hunter. So I don't know, maybe I figured he maybe like was hunting a mage and he wanted me to lock up their spell book or something.
What do you know about Nadiria? Nothing.
Who's the girl with the?
Mhm.
No, she's just. It's like the Warforge's pet.
Crux, can you give us a second, please?
Crux says, you want me to leave?
If you could just step away for a moment, there's some information I'd be happy to share with
No,
you.
no. I know when I'm not wanted.
Yeah.
I'll go and chat with the goblins. And she kind of looks at you, Kiri, as if to say, look, they're pushing me out.
The half orc is pushing the orc out.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
But she'll head out.
So Zad wants to say, according to what we've heard, you're not alone with your dragon mark. Nadiria may have the same one as you.
That's not possible. This
You
isn't
know,
a house. This isn't a Barrent dragon mark. This isn't a house dragon mark.
Do you know who your parents were? You're not an orphan.
I am an orphan now, but I knew my parents.
Played. Yeah. Yeah, we thought it was impossible too, but that's what we hear. So I don't know how important it is, but I was kind of curious to see whether you guys had connected about that. But let's assume that Nadiria has the same power if she's got the same dragon mark as you. Without getting too hung up on that as a red herring, I apologize. I kind of am more curious if was there anything distinctive about the box? For example, if I wanted to locate that as an object, could you describe it to me?
She's got metal and leather, kind of a long box, so it could long enough to hold a blade in, but not too big. So sort of longer than a short sword, like a long knife, maybe about this tall, like a music case kind of thing, maybe. I always did, yeah.
I mean, whether we do this now or if we wait until we're going to do specific actions, I now have the locate object spell. And supposedly with the description, I could use it within 1,000 feet. Do you think that it's near here?
I assume it is.
And do you have any idea why Rust wants the bomb from? And this could even be in terms of my own like history and arcana. Like Zad is pretty high history and arcana. Like I'm kind of curious whether he has any idea what these ruins are. And
Okay.
if there's anything that a Warforged would need. It's not like he's a vampire who needs to feed on something down there. It's more like he's just
No, it's not like that.
driven off a mission.
Well, let's do this. Let's have you make your roll
Sure.
with history arcana, and then I'm going to come back around to the others, and we'll check in with them. So, which do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on the arcana aspect or the history aspect here?
The history aspect. What are these
Okay.
ruins?
All right.
So I've got 2 times proficiency in history. So I roll history and then I have to add proficiency one more time.
Okay.
27. So I don't know if I should bother adding anything to that.
Now, so this is a very dangerous place. Like, let's set aside the whole spell bomb place. These ruins were sealed away for a reason. These whole areas of the Undertale were sealed away after the war, after the not the last war, but the big war where they destroyed everything. They built the whole city on top of this. These are fragments from the old place. They were sealed away for a reason. And the things you're seeing around here suggest that whatever this place is like either a religious complex or even like an actual dungeon. Like there are signs and symbols that that suggests, and there have to be some things contained down in this place. It's just happens that spell bomb came down through the levels down here. On the other hand, like attracts like. So it's a powerful spell bomb. This might be a powerful place. That might be why it crashed all the way down through here. But it's old civilization, pre the building of Sharn. And, it's incredibly illegal to be down here. Like if any authorities found out that the group here were at this, you would be like certainly on the block, which also makes you suspect that there is a certain amount of, like, when all is said and done, there may be some cleaning up of witnesses that needs to happen here. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay.
And at some point, just want to put a pin in the next thing he might want to do is try to locate that blade.
Okay. So let's come back to you, Kiri, and then we'll go Ratong and Sajara about, like, do you have further conversations either for Crux or for Yabnavi, or do you want to move on to something else, or you want to talk to the group about what the next steps are? What do you think, Kiri?
Prior to the assuming that locate spell will work, I think Kiri might be interested in if she can show us where he went. Maybe tonight we could some of us can go check out what he might have been doing. I mean, she obviously knows he was sneaking off. If you could give us the where he went with that box, maybe
I give you general direction, like I can point the way he headed out, but beyond that, I didn't follow him.
I think that's all we need.
Okay. Ratong, anything else you want to ask or say here before?
Yabnavi,
Hmm?
do you want to try and contest Nodaria in light of what you've learned?
I have no effing idea. Like, if this isn't an aberrant dragon mark, if it's another dragon mark, that is, like, I'm sure there's a lot of good that could potentially come out of this, but there is a lot more bad. I mean, that like puts a bounty on my head, big time. I would rather not have people know about this.
I'll respect your wishes, but just know that we're on your side now. We are here to get you out of this and into safety.
I am going to hold you to that.
If you wish to pursue your possible connection with this Nodaria, as long as we are here, know that you have others on your side.
Let me chew on that.
Please do.
Sajara, anything you want to say or ask there?
I mean, I think I'm going to kind of step away from the group briefly and walk over to where is it Jax? What's it?
Crux?
Crux.
Yeah.
Crux is Crux is talking to those goblins.
Yeah.
And I will say, pardon me, Crux. May
Yeah.
I speak with you privately?
Sure.
Kiri has asked me to inform you that she finds you attractive.
Interesting. She didn't strike me as the kind of person that would need a
Interlocutor.
Intermediary. Is there some reason that she would have asked you?
I'm not good at this sort of thing. She may have done it in an effort to embarrass me, but I'm never quite sure with her.
I like that in a woman.
Shall I tell her that?
No, no. There's no need for that. I'll take care of that side of things myself. I appreciate that, Sajara.
Hmm.
I figured you're coming over here to threaten me.
Oh, no, I have no reason to do so. I have no reason to consider you a threat.
Oh, okay. I'm good with that.
Please forgive my friends. They are, this is a very complicated situation. And
I'm
it
getting
is-
the sense of that. Yeah.
it is difficult for us to know who to trust.
Fair enough, considering I'm the one who killed your guide in the first place and he got replaced. So
Do we have anything to fear from you further?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Good.
Good. Well, there it is. As you
And,
will.
and like maybe 10 seconds of awkward silence, and then I'll just nod once and return to the group.
Perfect. Let's take our second break. Let's take a 5-minute bio and then we'll continue on. So as I understand it, the next step is the group kind of waiting till it's like things have settled down, till potentially the group can slip away. You can use the locate object to try and track down this box. Does that seem right?
Yeah, the only question I have is, has enough time passed to refresh any spell slots or anything like
Yeah,
that?
let's
or not
let's well, from previous session, yes. From this session, no.
really? No, from previous session, I mean, yeah.
From previous session, yes. If you had anything from those that hadn't been refreshed yet, go ahead. But from this session, no.
Okay.
So let's see who wants to take the lead on being the person who is sort of leading the stealth for the group of you to do this without being seen.
That's probably Kiri, right?
It's either Kiri or Sojara, and I guess I guess the question would be: are we all going? Which was fine. I was just curious.
That's my assumption.
Yep.
Raises the difficulty a little to the whole group, but it's still possible.
Yeah.
What's your-
So I mean, she's got, she's stealthy. So
What's your bonus? We can talk numbers.
3.
I've actually got 4.
Yeah.
Because I bought my dex, so
Okay.
I'm untrained, but just naturally can move fairly quietly, and I don't have any armor or anything on. So
Sajara, why don't you make that roll?
cool.
Don't forget you have a point of inspiration.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about. So is this to slip away unnoticed?
This is
or-
for the 4 of you to slip away unnoticed, such that no one spots you heading out or anything.
I will use my point of inspiration for this. This
Okay.
seems important to me to actually. Oh, I pressed the wrong stat. Sorry.
Oh,
Stealth.
Thank goodness.
that's much better.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, sorry. I clicked survival instead, which is the one directly below it. So
So the group of you will.
I'm gonna pretend that the 14 was my second roll so that my inspiration wasn't wasted.
Yeah.
So,
So you kind of wait until workers are occupied. People are moving. One of the things is, of course, there's no day-night cycle down here. It's all through the background glow of lava off in the distance and lanterns and things like that. So it makes it much easier to do. But the 4 of you will head out with our NPCs in tow, and you're going to cast locate object, Zed.
Yeah, narratively also, especially since it's a cantrip, I would have given Sajara Dabra guidance before you did it, Sajara. So we could have given you a D4 if you if that makes a difference, I should
No,
have
I think
mentioned
we're
that.
good. I think that
I'm-
that
I mean, if
I'm
we're
gonna-
if we're free and clear, then I won't bother rolling it. Yeah.
Yeah, so based on the description, basically I could locate the nearest object of a particular kind, such as a certain type of apparel, jewelry, furniture, tool, or weapon, just as long as there's no lead. So I'm gonna roll that, see what happens here. Oops, I think I just clicked on.
so let's locate
Description.
object.
Where is that? There's not a roll.
There's no roll.
This, there's no roll.
No roll.
Okay, so what this looks like is, I think Zad feels a little self-conscious because it's such a cliched thing, but he pulls a divining rod, wishbone looking thing out of his pocket, and it's got cloth ribbons flapping from either side, and he's using it to try to you see a little wisp of white mist as he directs himself towards where he thinks the object is.
So you all will kind of head out kind of over the rubble. It's a little bit difficult. All of you have dark vision of some sort, so you will kind of make your way along so that the background glow providing that. These are pillars and bricks and things of some ancient building. Kind of move your way along through that till you get to where there's more sort of powdered debris, older debris, and that's where your wisp kind of leads you to, and you will find a spot that the wisp points to, and it will take you a bit to clear away the material from this, and you will find this box, long wood and leather box. It has a kind of ornate keyhole there, and assuming that you put that in and turn the lock, the box will come open, and there are a number of objects inside of it. You will notice that, like, till quite recently, the box had a lining to it. And you kind of look at it, and it looks like someone recently peeled out the interior lead lining, which would block out your, if he had left it in there, it would block out your scribe. So clearly he's taken it to use for something else. But inside, you will find a set of items with some paper and notation by them, clearly written by Bashalak after he did his scrying to determine what the objects did. Shall I tell you what your fat loot is?
Yes, please.
Okay. There are 5 magic items in this box. The first of these is somewhere between a long dagger and a short sword. It's a blade. Counts as a long sword for purposes of that. It is a magic weapon, +1 to hit, +1 damage. But if you roll a critical with it, it will additionally do your level in D4s of lightning damage. Jim, what do you think that looks like? Like, how do you know, like, we've got this lightning weapon. What is the marker or sigil or coloring to this that tells us what it is?
So it's like a whatever, it's kind of like a long knife, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's got a the handle is some kind of has some kind of like inlaid stone in it that looks like it's got like little, it's like a clear stone with like little yellow veins in it that almost looks like lightning trapped in the sky
Oh, nice.
in the handle. Yeah.
Nice.
And I like the idea that the blade on this is like very slender.
Oh yeah.
And it's like this is not like a big chunky thing. This is like a little, like a dirk for stabbing people with. Yeah.
Nice. Sword with lightning damage. I'm just going to put this in the chat. The second thing is a set of boots. It's magical boots, so they flex and adjust to the size of the wearer. They're fairly nice. Their first thing they do is they give you a +1 to dexterity saves. But the other thing they do is once per fight, when you take a foe to half, like when you do the blow that takes them to that midpoint, that 50%, what for 13th age is staggered, it will immediately,
or what in 4th edition would be bloodied.
It immediately does your level ×2 damage to that foe. Those are face stomping boots. The next thing is a set of gloves. Nice. That you can put on, and you can magically increase the adhesion of the gloves to objects, which will give you advantage on climbing or grappling or anything where it's about gripping onto something. The next one is a dagger. That is kind of odd looking. And it's your basic magic +1/+1/+1 to hit, +1 to damage dagger. But the descriptor on it is that it changes the tastes of whatever it is touched to. Ratung, what do you suppose this dagger of many tastes looks like?
I think that the blade of it has a bit of a pinkish hue.
Okay.
And if you look very closely, I think you almost would see like this it seems like it has a very light texture to the surface.
Okay.
And if you squint, it might kind of just look like a long pointed tongue on the blade of the blade of the dagger kind of gives that impression if you look at it long enough and kind of unfocus your eyes.
Absolutely. And it can change it to whatever taste that you can imagine. So you could cover up bad tastes. You could make something good taste bad, however you want to do that.
I think it has just a very plain wooden handle, like a kitchen knife would.
Oh, I like that. And the last thing you'll find is that there is a longish nail that is clearly magical. When you hammer this nail into a surface, it will create a 10-foot diameter circle of silence around that nail.
Is this like a one-time use thing, or
no? You hammer it in, and then you can prise it out and hammer it in somewhere else.
Okay.
It does have to be nailed to a stationary object. Plus, you have the half-dozen comet healing potions from a Bashalak. Does that seem like a fair treasure? Do you want to talk about who gets what at this point? The classic mode, or
Yeah, so I think like we each get one. We should each start with one healing potion, right?
sounds
Yeah.
fair?
And then
Does anybody think any of these things is extremely obvious as something that their character would benefit from? If so, you should just say so, because I'm not sure that we are all looking at each other's sheets and stuff at the same time.
I mean, are they all usable by all of us? Do we all use blades or?
I was trying to figure out, yeah, I was trying to figure that out as well. I mean, right now I have a mace. There's nothing stopping anybody from using these types of weapons other than proficiency, right?
That is
Just
correct.
simple weapons, right?
Mhm.
I have, are these simple weapons or are these martial weapons? Do we know?
I think these count as simple weapons, right?
Dagger would be simple, right?
Right.
What kind of sword is that? Sort of like, is it like technically a short sword?
Yeah, I would call it a short sword.
Yeah, if it's a short sword, then it's I think
Simple.
short sword is simple
think it's
as well.
simple.
Yeah. Actually,
Maybe.
probably find out.
I will take the tongue dagger if it's not spoken for. I do wield a dagger, and I think we've established that I like to. I'm a bit of a connoisseur of tastes, I
This is
guess
true.
you might say.
I think the short sword could be usable by any of the rest of us.
That's the lightning sword, right?
Well, so I have no particular, because I also am attuned to something else that I don't know about. So I feel like I can choose last because I inadvertently attuned to something else. So and
So-
that.
So for what it's worth, short sword is actually a martial weapon.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you don't have proficiency with martial weapons, you would need proficiency with short sword.
So
Or
I
a
won't.
feat that grants you proficiency with, say, 4 weapons if you're choosing.
Or well,
Yeah, if
or
you happen to-
or being a monk just gives you short sword proficiency at first level. That's the other kind of thing that you could have if that was a thing.
If that
So-
was the thing, got it.
Yeah.
I think you should just, I think
I don't think
Sajara
a
Dabra
short
should
sword.
take it.
Yeah, I think you should take it, Sajara, or I won't. I don't think I'll take it because if it's a martial weapon, I think you have to use your strength versus it's not a finesse weapon, right?
Ooh, let me see. Short sword does have finesse. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Either way, like I said, I'll
1d6
Sure.
1d6 piercing, finesse and light. It's got those properties.
I mean, Zad being, 240 pounds, 6 feet tall with a bad dex would love to have the face stomping boots.
Makes sense to me.
So I would assume that the adhesion gloves then in your hands, Kiri, and the nail as a kind of a group item that can be passed around.
that will work, I think.
So yeah, you can deal that out. I think this is actually a good place for us to stop. Like we got our loot. We'll start out. We kind of know where the players are, and we will take up with this next time. My goal is that we'll kind of finish out this leg so we can at least have one more session back up in the city. So that just to tell you kind of in the meta, that's my goal with this. I would like to do a quick stars and wishes if you don't mind. So Joe, can I start with you?
Yeah, no, it's been a long week, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Just general star. I mean, this has been a wonderful, all of our sessions have been really good. So I'm going to star Jim for busting his ass back here and putting it on to play tonight. And
Yeah.
so, and the only wish I have, Lowell, would be is maybe at the beginning of next session, I'd like to have Curie be able to have a small amount of time by herself to see what that thing is she found.
Ah, all right. Perfect. Yeah, we'll make that a first scene next time. Tim?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, as always, to play in this game with you guys. Lowell, once again, I think a star for just the amount of detail you put in, I think, with just presenting the NPCs. And like, I really loved that touch actually with Typhoon, just that idea of just planting that seed that, okay, so here's an NPC with this sort of rival group, but you can see that they're dissatisfied. You know, I think just those kinds of things that give us the little threads to pull on really makes it a lot of fun. And also I think just the way you portrayed Yabnavi also, right, where you could clearly see that like she was kind of in trouble with that group. So, you know, just kind of giving us those threads that we could go and pull on, but kind of in our own way. It's a really nice way to set things up, and something that I always, you know, strive to kind of keep in mind now for my own games. So thank you for that. And I really loved the scene with Jim going over to Crux, and just that idea of like just how awkward Sojara Dabra is, right? Not like understanding the
That was good.
the language of romance, right? Just I'm told to you know, pass on the information that yeah, Kiri finds you attractive. Like that whole thing was just great. I love that scene. Very well played. And I mean, really, I think everybody today had those moments where, like Zad, I really like I was hoping that somebody was going to just tell Yabnavi about that there's this other dragon mark. And so I'm glad you did. That was awesome. And then everything with Kiri and the goblins, or yeah, like that other group of like laborer goblins, and coming up with the union rep thing. And that was just great. I think you kind of talked your way out of a bad role. So it was really cool to see that. And for Lowell too, to let that happen, right? Where even if you rolled maybe not so great, you know, that because Joe had some quick thinking responses, that you were able to he was still able to mostly succeed with what he wanted to do. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, a lot of fun all the way around. I don't know that I have anything in particular for wishes next time, but yeah, really, really enjoyable time. Thank you.
All right. Zad.
Yeah, great time. I mean, I think everybody is thinking it, Jim. That was it, man. That was a masterful moment.
Yeah.
you had fooled the players as well as the PCs for a moment there. So just great comedic timing. Really fun to play with you all. I'm just going to leave it with that amazing highlight there. And also Lowell, I mean, I got to say, like, this feels noir. Like it's interesting. Like, I don't know exactly if everybody's the same definition of noir, but having all of the threads is a great way to have leads in general. But it feels like we're not going to solve every mystery, right? It feels like there's all these mysteries and we're not going to get them all. And it makes you want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, how many sessions do we have left? Because I heard you say your goal and I wasn't sure.
We have two sessions left.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So I'd say my wishes would just be perhaps some really sick reveal, like of one of these really deep tendrils. I mean, now we know we're in this really dangerous situation. So just the stakes getting, you know, really, really hot and ramped up, given that we're at the climax. But that's probably the way you pace things anyway.
I am going to say this. This is one of those games that later on in the year, I'll come back and I will see if we can find later on, maybe let's like the fourth quarter of the year. If we can find another couple months, I would do another 2 months of this. I like these characters enough that I would gladly come back to them. So just want to say that is definitely on the table. So
sweet.
Sojara.
So I want to start with a star for just kind of all of us and like Gauntlet play culture and Lowell, you've been through some stuff over the last few weeks, but you kept us informed of what was going on, and everybody was cool. Like Open Door worked exactly the way that it was supposed to, and we all came back and jumped right back into it, and it and it all felt. And I say this because like I've been reading some stuff on like the DM Academy subreddit, right, where like the baby DMs are on there going, players are canceling. What the hell do I do? My game is falling apart. And I'm kind of like, so what you do is you have a conversation where you go, hey, we all have lives and we may need to cancel every now and then, and it's okay. And we pick back up when we can. And like that is exactly how all of that worked. Like I missed last week kind of because like I ended up having to leave early and it was all cool and the game kept going and we dropped me right back in, and just I was reminded as we've gone through all of this how well that play culture works for us and how we've adapted it, and just the way that you embody it is really just constantly an inspiration and a delight. So thank you for that.
Awesome.
And Joe, like you had what I think of as a Jim Rockford moment this evening. If you've ever seen the Rockford Files, if you're a fan of the Rockford Files at all, like that was here's my bullshit story. Come on, that's bullshit. Yeah, you got me. It's bullshit. Okay, here's what's really going on, which is like even a bigger pile of bullshit than the first thing. But because you're like, yeah, you caught me. Good job. And then it was like the union rep thing was just, that was perfect. That was the high point of the game for me. was that like I said, that Rockford moment. So Chris, I loved your Chris, you had a Quincy moment this evening. Speaking of classic TV detectives and stuff like that, you got to do your autopsy and all that kind of stuff. And I like that you were able to get some information out of it. You got what you needed, even with the maybe fumbled a little, but it's neat to see us using our different skills and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, and I've said this before, but like, Zad being the big hulking, half orc, but who is like the most kind of studious and, analytical of all of us is kind of neat. And I'm enjoying that thing there. And Tim Ratung just remains a like a delight.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to you really liked that tea. You mentioned it like 3 times tonight. It's like, well, I'd sell you out for some of that tea, just so you know. Like, just get you some of that tea so that none of that is necessary. But I'm having a wonderful time. This is super fun.
Oh, good.
However many games that we can get in, that'd be great. I got 2 main wishes. One is that with my new levels and all that kind of stuff, I want to kick some people's heads.
Okay.
We didn't get a chance to do that this evening. At some point before this is over, and after all this buildup, we better see what a spell bomb looks like. I'm gonna be sad if we don't get a chance to have that, at least have us be like leaping out of a cavern like as it goes off behind us or whatever, or something like that. So that's
absolutely
having laid Chekhov's spell bomb down in Act 2.
100%.
We better see it in Act 5. So
awesome. Jim, I want to say, great job of coming back in after a missed session. There was a lot of stuff that happened last time. It was kind of some info stuff. I did a nice job coming back in. I appreciate everybody's investigation stuff. It went in lots of different ways and complemented each other. Sometimes it's hard to manage in this, but it was really good. Great session. I'm looking forward to next time. I'm going to stop the recording.